welcome to the Bible for Worship at St. Paul Lutheran Church on this Sunday of the Reign of Christ, when our gospel lesson is written in the Gospel of John, chapter 18, verses 33 to 37. Then Pilate entered the headquarters again, summoned Jesus, and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you ask this on your own, or did others tell you about me?" Pilate replied, "I am not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and the chief priests have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not from this world. If my kingdom were from this world, my followers would be fighting to keep me from being handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not from here." Pilate asked him, "So you are a king?" Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice." The Gospel of the Lord. Thanks be to God. This scene of Jesus and the Roman governor Pontius Pilate in John's Gospel is a fascinating and captivating one. There seems to be a bit of verbal sparring here. We'll come to that in a moment. It's worth noting, though, that in general, the Gospel of John is different from the other Gospels in the way that it sees Jesus' crucifixion. For John, crucifixion is glorification. Crucifixion is the vindication, the affirmation that what Jesus has said actually has come from God, whom Jesus calls his Father. For John, Jesus being raised up on the cross is a kind of enthronement in which he says, "And when I am raised up, I will draw all people to myself." Chapter 12, verse 32. So while the other Gospels and the Apostle Paul look at the crucifixion in a variety of ways, perhaps as a sacrifice, perhaps as the victory of evil over God temporarily, which ultimately is reversed on Easter morning. For John, it is already in the crucifixion that Jesus comes to his hour of glory, an hour in which everything that he has said to the disciples, that he has been given by his Father as the light that comes into the world, as the way in which the disciples are to see the world in light of Jesus, we could say. The cross is the moment when all of that is shown to be true, and therefore Jesus and his Father through him are glorified in that moment. It all points ultimately back to God, the one that Jesus calls his Father. And so in this verbal sparring that I mentioned, it's interesting to see that Pilate is very much focused on Jesus. What are his questions? Are you the King of the Jews? What have you done? So then, you are a king. These are Pilate's questions, and they all focus on the person of Jesus. And Jesus' answer to each of them turns that focus away. Are you the King of the Jews? Pilate asks. Is it you who say that? Jesus responds, or has someone told you about me? It's not about who I am. It's about whom you see or what you have heard. "What have you done?" Pilate asks. And Jesus doesn't respond. He simply says, "My kingdom is not from this world." My kingdom obviously isn't from this world because my followers aren't fighting to save me in this world. Rather, my kingdom is not of this world. "Oh," says Pilate, "so you are a king." Focus back on Jesus. And Jesus again deflects it. "For this I came into the world, to testify to the truth." You, Pilate, you seem intent on focusing on me and deciding whether I'm a king or not. But I came into this world to testify to the truth, to testify to what my Father, what God has poured into the world in creation, that becomes clear when you understand that everything that I offer comes from my Father, who is the Creator and the Redeemer of the creation. Jamie Clark Solis is a New Testament professor at Perkins School of Theology in Dallas, Texas. And one of the things that she points out in her spiritual devotional commentary on John's Gospel entitled "Reading John for Dear Life" is that when Jesus speaks, he doesn't talk about things, he makes things happen. In her words, what Jesus says is already done. Then we just have to act like we believe it. This is the reign of Christ. Oh, perhaps someday for all people and all creation, we certainly can hope for that. But John's focus in particular is that the reign of Christ is already present when we live in its truth. The truth that what Jesus has brought us, this commandment to love one another as I have loved you. In this, my Father will be glorified, that you love one another. When we act as if we believe that Jesus is from his Father, from God, and that what Jesus brings us is God's way for us to live in creation, with this commandment of love. Greater love has no one than that they lay down their life for a friend. Love one another. A master is not greater than the servant, and yet you call me master, but look, I wash your feet. It is about God and creation and the Word of God in Jesus teaching us how to live in creation. And then us, in that love, doing what John says are even greater things than Jesus did. God bless.